Welcome back to Afternoon Live. It's an organization that is working to turn the greater Vancouver area into a bee healthy environment through education and advocacy. Here to share us how we can help improve our local habitat for native pollinators, we welcome from the Vancouver Bee Project, Bella Padgett. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Tell me a little bit about the Vancouver Bee Project. You were saying it's a relatively young organization.
Absolutely. Yeah, we are a relatively young organization. We've been around for about 3 years or so. And you're right, we are dedicated to habitat creation, pollinator advocacy, and pollinator education and outreach. So we love to work with our community to make things better for bees.
I think we all have learned a lot over maybe the last decade or so of the importance of bees and pollinators. Why are they so important to really our entire ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, you said it, they are important to our entire ecosystem, right? They are the cornerstone of a healthy planet. We would not have about 3/4 of our staple crops from our global food system, and we wouldn't have about 80% of our native plants without pollinators. About 80% of native plant species on Earth need animal pollinators like bees or butterflies to reproduce. So a world without pollinators is one without healthy air, healthy water, biodiversity, and food.
Okay, so what are some challenges facing pollinators right now?
Yeah, pollinators, the challenges facing pollinators are similar to the challenges that are facing a lot of our other native wildlife, right? The Willamette Valley used to be forests and meadows and prairies. Now it's largely an agricultural and urban matrix, right? So there's a lot less in terms of forage, food, habitat, places to live. And we also use pesticides and other things that have been proven to have an impact on pollinators.
You mentioned bees and butterflies. Are those two of our main pollinators locally?
Yeah, so bees are especially, they're just specialized to be pollinators. So they are pollinating powerhouses, right? A lot of people immediately think of honeybees when they think of bees, but honeybees, while they're phenomenal crop pollinators, they are one species. They came here from Europe, and they are totally different in almost every way from native bees. Native bees, we have over 600 species of native bees.
You have a very cool prop to show us here. This is amazing.
Yeah, so these are samples collected by the Washington Bee Atlas, which is a community science organization. And volunteers go out and catalog all the bees in Washington State. Oregon Bee Atlas is a similar organization in Oregon. So we know of over 600 species in Washington, over 700 in Oregon. We're discovering more every single year. And they come truly in all sizes, shapes, colors, ways that they live their lives.
Wow, so even all these right here are kind of just scratching the surface of all the things that we could see here locally.
It's a tiny, tiny sample, but you know, you're definitely gonna see some bumblebees when you're out and about in your garden and on your walks. Those ones you tend to see a lot. If you plant Clarkia or Farewell to Spring, these guys, the metallic green sweat bees, really, really love those.
Oh, wow.
And then we also have a lot of these little tiny things. You know, these are some of our, these are cellophane bees. These ones are sweat bees. A lot of people, when they come to our bee walks, they start to see these animals. They say, oh my gosh, I would have never thought that was a bee.
They're so tiny. I didn't know they came that small.
Yeah, they come in all sizes.
Interesting. So what can we do to help our local pollinators and make sure that they have what they need to thrive?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are a lot of things that people can do, whether or not you live in an apartment, whether you have a huge garden. If you do have the space to plant, even if it's a pot on your patio, planting native plants is really, really important. Native bees need native plants. Oregon State University Extension came out with a great study a couple of years ago, top plant picks for bees, where they found that Douglas aster is a really important one, especially this time of year when there's not a lot else blooming. It supports tons of native bee species. Farewell to Spring is a really good one. Clarkia is the Latin name for that. There's a photo of the metallic green sweat bee that I just referenced.
That is so
love,
cool.
love, love Clarkia, and the great thing about a lot of these plants is they're drought tolerant. They can handle a lot of the challenging conditions of our climate, right? Because they were evolved to be here. Yeah, exactly.
Are there certain things not to do, like beginning with maybe avoiding non-native plants to start?
Yeah, I think the best forage that you can give a pollinator is its native plant, right? So plant native if you want to plant for pollinators. Reduce pesticide use in your garden and in your home. And also advocate. You know, if you don't have a space to garden, You can volunteer with nonprofits and other organizations that do land restoration and pollinator habitat creation. You can advocate to your HOA or to your neighborhood association or your city council for pesticide reduction and all that good stuff, pollinator habitat creation. You can also, if you don't have any place to plant, but you have a patch of bare ground, keep it clear. Most of our native bees actually nest in the ground. 70%, and then 30% nest in cavities. So you can go online and basically just bundle up some sticks that have hollow middles and leave that out, and that's a great way to attract some bees.
That's so cool. You don't have to have a huge garden space to make a small impact in your own community. Thank you so much for coming. This was so fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
We'll have more information about Vancouver Bee Project on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.